And we know what Jesus was when he was a man on earth. What was his profession? Was he a doctor?
Carpenter.
He was a heavenly doctor, but what was Jesus' work?
Carpenter.
But that's his heaven. But when he was a man on earth,
Panday to si Lord Jesus.
Jesus
Panday to
was
siya.
a carpenter. Because we know Jesus is the foundation. But also the builder. Without us, without the carpenters, the workers, there's no building. Without Jesus, there's no building, heavenly building for us. And then once though I became, and Jesus came in, and it's like, oh, Jesus, please forgive me for my sins. I could feel right away, boom, the God coming in me. And so it's no longer me. I feel me in there because I'd rather go steal a chicken than have a dinner. I would rather. We're on, but I'm not on.
You are.
Am I on this?
No, I promise you. You're on, dude.
There we are. Hello. We were just chatting, and we know where that goes. So, welcome Sunday. We had some real, we had a real great worship service today, and then got to catch a bit of a gospel presentation by our friend Bruce Wayne. That was good and to the point. And then we had another show going on, and then I heard that my two buddies here are pantyweights and have to go night, so we had to start right now. Except for the fact that it's only 4:30 here, and it's time for bed for them, especially two that work such long hours. Yeah, and so Stephen, what new with you?
So I was informed this evening that I believe Christmas trees are phallic shaped. That's breaking news. Achilles has better breaking news. So our good friend Joseph, Doc's tech guy, he had scheduled a debate, and for unknown reasons, so far he had to. He didn't show up. He wasn't able to make it. And Achilles stepped in kind of impromptu, totally off the cuff, and had this debate on objective morality. No preparation, totally unprepared, just winging it. And he absolutely knocked it out of the park. Like, represented all of us very well.
Thank you, brother. But I'm just a mouth. It is the truth of God that is so apparent, and it makes it so easy. And as I told Stephen backstage, Dan, you can hear this now too. After this was done, I was invited to go out at a dinner table. So I told people that I was in a debate. Sorry for my delay because I was in a debate. And they said, "What was the debate about?" I said, "The subject was whether you need a God to have an objective morality." And the dude that asked me is like, "Of course you do." I'm like, "Right?" End of the argument. What's there to argue about? I mean, of course you need something in order to compare to, and it can't be different gods because that could be my God says this, the other God says this. But if there is one God, then there is objective morality.
Now, Achilles, you did that well, knocked it out of the park with no preparation. Imagine how much further our side would have benefited with Joseph had being able to make it, and him actually had been prepared. Like, wow, it blows my mind. Well done. And Joseph, thank you for scheduling it. Even though it slipped your mind, you built the opportunity.
Yeah. We
Sweet,
made.
we should do it.
Hey, brother.
We should do a recap.
I'm pretty sure Joseph. I mean, if I could do what happened impromptu, I'm pretty sure Joseph would just destroy him completely. Not him, the argument that we don't need a God to have
The
morality.
argument.
Yeah, because TKA
Well, then that's
is respectful. I can carry a conversation with him. Although he throws a lot of ad hominems and a lot of straw man all over the place, but at least when you jump in, he listens. It's not fighting over who speaks the loudest. So I enjoy that.
no, that is good, and that's what we had a problem with on that with the show with Bruce. We listened to Gigi's channel, but again, and I'll correct you, Achilles. Everybody has morals, but the point of it is that, well, what does it matter if there's no official, no authority behind it? You think it's immoral to murder me? Well, I can think without a God, without our loving God, I can think it's okay to murder you. So then there is no absolute morality. And that's what we say. And they twist our words and say, everybody has morality. Yeah, Hitler had morals. And you can't say they're bad if everybody's morals comes from a chemical evolution into life and then life evolving. So just like the daddy lion the undaddy, the lion that comes takes out the daddy lion, no problem with that. Nothing immoral, moral, amoral, nothing. It's just an act. And there's nothing wrong with the new daddy eating all the little baby or killing all the babies of the
Yeah,
former
yeah.
king.
Now that you mention that, that came up in the argument. He said that we know from the consensus. I'm like, "Oh, okay, here we go with the consensus again. That empathy." I'm like, "Oh no, he's using my favorite word. Let's see where he goes with this." Um, Evolved. Oh no, he ruined it. Um, in time. I'm like, wait a minute, pause here. How can you even say that? Every animal out there that started being empathetic about not eating the baby of the other animal, that's the animal that didn't survive. You need the exact opposite of empathy in order to survive. The lion eats the baby zebra.
Another issue they had was with the chemical reaction in the brain being the cause of emotions like love. But what doesn't make sense about that is the strongest human The strongest human instinct that we've been able to observe is the flight or fight instinct. And you would have to explain to me how this chemical reaction would be so strong but unobservable that it could override our fight or flight instinct all throughout history. Even take men in war. They would charge armies much larger than them, knowing they're on the front line, and if they proceed, they'll die, but they did it for patriotism, for faith, for family. How were they able to override the flight or fight instinct with a chemical reaction? I need an explanation.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I do need this guy here banned this wild card worship thing because he's making the president look bad. He said it's so much better than I did. I took like a paragraph and he knocked it out of the park with one
Ban him.
sentence. Oh, there's
Ban
the
him.
guy on top of the dinosaur. Hi,
You,
Joseph.
you can never outspeak our president. Ban him. Throw him to the lion's
Act
den,
stupider,
which we will be
Joseph. Next
hosting.
time, do that same thing and say it stupider.
This is a
So anyway.
dictatorship, and Dan's the tater.
The phallic symbol.
Exactly. Anyway, so do we have that recording? What station was that channel? What time?
It is on.
You know what?
It is on the Kentucky Atheist channel, and I really would love a review at some point. It doesn't have to be here because it's all about how silly the arguments are and how easy it is. I wasn't even, that's what matters. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know the subject. We came in just to keep them company until Joseph comes in. And, it ended up to being a debate. And you don't need to be armed. When you don't need to be armed to go to war, that's not war. That's just, walk in the park. So,
Well, exactly. And so with all of that, again, that's their faith. Because again, I always like to go back to Machiavellian. He was what, 14th century, whatever. And you know, his book, The Princes, which he outlined how authoritarians, the the rich, the powerful keep and strengthen their hold on their community. First thing is get people just to argue. You have them fight over whatever, and then you can make an enemy. And so your guys have this enemy, which is really you as the guy trying to be the prince. And it's so funny because that's how it's gone through history. And you look at it now and they go, oh well, I have to be good because it's my DNA. No, you have to be good because you got some guy up there in a police station with a gun who's going to tell you you better do it. The government can do what they want, no matter what kind of government. But you, as a citizen, we're gonna make little boxes to put you in if you'll go against what we say. So and again, how do revolutions happen is because a certain group of people will become the will become the princes, and then even if they do it, let's get together. Stalin, even Hitler, because he came in to help the German people because they were in the Depression. Really, after World War One, the other countries kind of put them down. It's like kept them suppressed, and not that it was right, but Hitler was able to use that to gain power, control power, and then do his craziness. We think led by Satan, but Maud, bring your family here. Don't separate your family from this family.
There's a
We're feeling
conspiracy that
rejected.
Maud doesn't really have a family because no one's ever seen them or talked to them. And she's like able to stream at all hours of the day. So I heard that there is missing Maud lore, that she doesn't have a family, that she actually lives alone, and that possibly there's a neighbor. a close by neighbor, but that there's no proof of a family.
But that neighbor died, didn't they? So I think she was afraid we were gonna want proof. But we can talk smack because I think she's already gone. But Robin will snitch on us, so we got to be kind of nice.
Now, see, Robin doesn't have time to come hang out with us for even 5 minutes, but she has time to moderate an entire awesome debate.
Oh, was she the moderator?
Yeah, she was the moderator, man. Had plenty of time to
Because I like
moderate, but can't say hi.
I need to
I like
congratulate.
Kentucky.
I need to congratulate her because it's one thing to be able to host and being balanced, and you need to add to that when you have opinion which is against the one talking, or the guest, and you don't even allow your opinion to intervene, and you are a host, and she remained balanced all the way to the end, and she did a great job. Thank you, Robin.
Awesome. Well, let's put it up. I want to see it. I missed it, and I do like Kentucky Atheist. I even like his what do you say they were like ad hominems? Does he do that? What did you?
Yeah, and Joseph mentioned this in the chat, that the way he does it is so subtle. You have to like point it out, but if you do point it out immediately, then it's going back and forth, who started it. I understand why he's doing that, because the position that you don't need a God to have objective morality has no arguments. So you got to do something about it. You have to add some. You have to do something. So in his introductory statement, he started by stating that, and then he went on attacking God in 10 different statements. And that is not the position of, like, he changed his position in the opening statement from needing a God for an objective morality to why God sucks, why God is not moral. So immediately you're off. So I asked him to read them sentence to sentence. He almost started to. I stopped at the first sentence, and then he never got back to the second sentence, which that was funny. And then he threw a lot of you're this, you're that, you're doing this, you're doing that. So what can you do if your quiver is empty? You got to use your hands. Quiver. Is that the word, quiver? I'm not sure.
I thought a quiver held your arrows.
Right. So that was the word. Yes.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
yep.
Well, and I know, and the whole morality question, and that's why I would be surprised if you said Robin wasn't a good moderator, because what I think that girl is a fair, opinionated but fair, and
Right.
so oh, good, we have it here. Let's do this.
How do I again? That song.
Well, he showed up fast, so.
Oh, here we go. That's Achilles.
Can you hear it?
Hey, can you hear me, Achilles?
Yeah, but I needed the picture, man. Where do you go without your avatar?
Oh yeah. Okay, you got it there.
Yeah, I heard you say that we haven't gotten along. I was just saying about you. I just want you to know that you are one of those people that I enjoy, because they can carry a conversation respectfully without throwing insults, ad hominems all the time. So I always enjoy interactions with you, brother.
Okay.
I was a little wrong here, but I enjoy, but he does throw ad hominems and strawmen. But one thing I want to point out to anybody that is watching, it is very annoying to me to listen to myself. I hate my voice and I hate my accent. So if you don't like my accent, join the club. right? But that's the only one I have. Give
I'd
me
like to
yours.
take a moment to rebuke both Achilles and Krista because they are always complaining about how much they hate their voices, and both of them have these really endearing accents that just draw you in and make you want to trust them, and they can't do anything but bash on themselves all the time, and it's just self-loathing. And I'm going to stop now because my wife is actually in the room.
And you want to live. Well, I will agree with you. Yeah, Krista has a delightful accent, and should not be ashamed of it. On the other,
I,
no,
I agree there. It's my voice that I hate. Not nobody
that's
else's.
funny because I think I don't know if that's universal, because I mean, if Steven doesn't like his voice, he should because everybody does, seeming to me. But anyway,
I'm the most
and
hated guy on YouTube. I refuse to believe anybody likes my voice.
The thing is that we get it different from within our head, and when we hear it from our ears, sounds so bad, especially my accent. But what can I do, guys? I can't shake it. I'm sorry.
yeah, in the U.S., the girls were going crazy after your accent. Don't give me that. Um, and Steven, yes, you have a great voice. And that's the funny thing is, the only people I would like say something, maybe and I wouldn't even say it, is, you know, somebody that had a bad mutation or something's wrong.
You're popping in and out, Dan. I'm sorry to report, but you're out. And in. Welcome back.
Continue, Dan.
All right. Did we? There it is. Let's start that so we can get going. Because I know if you're in it, Achilles, it went on a long time. Joking.
Yeah.
Coming from the guy that never stops talking.
Ouch! Friendly fire! Wow.
I can say that though, because I'm one of the.
I can take jokes. I can take jokes, and Dan always, when he throws a joke about someone, he then continues on with self-sarcasm immediately, so you can't hold a grudge ever. So.
Well, that's true. I mean, if there wasn't a babbling Canadian goose who makes me feel better, because I babble, but not that much. But anyway, let's go with this. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna, but let's just start.
Let's just start.
Let's try.
Yeah, man. I'm not, obviously we disagree on some things. And that's, I don't see any reason to hate people and everything for disagreeing on stuff. I just none of this. So when we have these conversations, there are some things I'm passionate about, and that'll be obvious. But this isn't one of them. This is so this should be pretty cut and dry.
All right. On the other hand, I didn't even know about this. Steven just asked me if I want to jump in until Joseph comes back, and I was like, sure, let's do it. I didn't even know there was a subject. I mean, I didn't know anything. So.
Okay, the subject, Achilles, is objective morality.
All right.
That's what sent Joe a request to have this debate. So.
Okay.
But it's objective morality. We're going to do 10, is it 10 minutes?
10-minute opening, back and forth for an hour or so.
Yeah, 10-minute opening, and then sort of like a conversation. But since you're taking I hate to throw it on, but since you're taking the affirmative objective morality exists, that was you going first, Achilles. Are you prepared to do that?
I'm definitely not prepared for 10 minutes because I didn't expect that. I was just thinking that we're coming into chit chat until Joseph makes it here, not a formal debate.
Okay. Well, we can wait a minute and see if Joseph's coming.
I'll give Joseph 30 more minutes since that'll be 3 o'clock his time. So if you want, though, instead of objective morality, we can talk about something else. That way we're not like, because, if we go through all the arguments and then Joseph comes and makes the same ones and I have to make the same ones back, it'll just be the same thing twice. So maybe let's, I don't care. I mean, shit. I don't care to do objective morality if that's what you want to do, but I will tell you, like, I did at least prepare an opening for this, and I
don't think Achilles is like he doesn't have an opening for this. He didn't even
well.
know.
I know, obviously.
It's all right.
So
It's all right. I don't I can throw in a statement, and you can respond to that statement.
would you like for Joe? Would you like for Joe to go first, maybe, and then you could maybe make some notes or something, or
Favoritism.
Sure, it's funny.
we'll flip the
Favoritism.
debate.
Well,
yeah,
let's just do this, because I don't want to do my opening and stuff and then Joseph show up.
Okay.
yeah, that's an issue.
So I'll just frame it up here, and we'll talk about morality, since that's what it's about today. And if it gets rehashed, whatever, that's fine. I don't care.
Or we could talk about dirt bikes. Achilles knows a lot about dirt bikes.
I would win that one.
I know a little bit about dirt bikes, but
little bit not good enough.
I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about different models and the inner workings and all that stuff. I know that's how we had fun as kids. So
Achilles used to race dirt bikes. Right,
I didn't race them. I took them through the woods, and we had this place that it was private land we weren't supposed to be on, but there was this big like plateau up there. We'd go up there and run up that thing and catch like 20, 30 feet of air off of it. That was a lot of fun. But
yeah, man, freedom.
We broke a lot of stuff.
It gives you a lot of freedom, and you have this contact with nature, and you're at the same time having a blast. So that's how I ended up taking this to a professional level. I just loved it too much.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I actually, before I started having some health troubles and stuff, but I used to cut grass is what I did for a job, and it's not like I have a degree in computer science, but I loved going and cutting grass, and I made good enough money to live off of it.
Mm-hmm.
We had like 400 yards, so I cut grass all day, every day. But yeah, so I get it. You can, you get to, you do those things and you like it, and I loved cutting grass. It was fun for me.
The only reason I'm not forwarding this, our discussion with dirt bikes and his gardening that he's talking about, is because I don't remember how long it is. It might be like, I think it's just 1 more minute or something. So I don't want to miss, something from about the subject. So anyway, I found an opportunity to say this because according to the laws of YouTube, you should also be commenting, so it's not taking somebody else's content. So yeah, why not do that and apologize? So we are gonna be commenting when it is about the subject, but for now, just letting it run. Man, comments. Let me go there. All right. Pressing play. Yeah, and then when you are like getting really good at it, because you have to at some point buy the right gear, right? Yeah. You can't cut grass with on 50 houses with the old mower. You need a better one. So when you end up buying all the gear, you're like, why don't I just turn this professional? I have the gear,
Yeah, no doubt. And well, I mean, that's probably part of why I enjoyed the cutting grass, is because I had professional equipment, commercial grade equipment to do it with, and so I got to ride around on a 0-turn mower all day. That's what was fun about it, And I got good at it, so I could make funny designs in yards and make them look all cool and stuff. I've got a whole photo album of landscaping and yard work that I did.
Landscaping is awesome. I love watching people like transform houses and their yards. It's amazing. Yeah. It's an art.
Yeah, I did a lot of different landscaping jobs too. I used to go bid big jobs and do them by myself or with another person, and did a lot of cool stuff. I've got pictures of all that stuff. I should post sometime. But anyway, so just to be clear, the position you're coming from here, you are you believe in the young Earth creation narrative, right?
Yep.
Okay. Just wanted to clear that up before because there's things that come up about that when we talk about this. So instead of doing an opening and stuff that I've prepared, why don't we we'll just talk about the subject in general. Do you actually hold the belief that objective morality exists and that it's from God?
Yes, I do. Okay. Although these are two different sentences, the fact that I believe it comes from God is because I believe in the Bible. But the fact that whether an objective morality exists, I think is a more easy to arrive to concept, because at least through the Bible, there is a standard. You can say, I don't agree with that standard, but that is a comparison versus the standard. At least we have a standard, because if we don't, then it's my morality versus your morality versus Robin's morality, and everybody has different upbringings, so we all have a different morality.
How do you deal with the contradictions on morality in the Bible, though?
The more you end up studying them, the more you realize that they actually don't contradict. The contradictions exist on the level of those that are not trying to understand fully. I just want to point out here that the anti-God mentality oozed through immediately, because his initial statement and my response were whether a God is required to have an objective morality. But then he flips this to, what about your God not being ethical enough? What about him contradicting himself? So that is not on the subject. That is against Christianity. There is a difference between on the subject of whether a God is required to have a standard, with your God is immoral. Those are completely different things.
Well, yeah, because you can, the creator of the universe could be just a tyrant up there, and then at the end he's just like, haha. But the statement that you need a creator, a God, an intelligence to able to have objective morality, it shouldn't be an argument, because
right,
without a lawgiver, somebody then given, it'd be like in our society, I'm going to watch that speed limit sign because from on high it came down, and we've got people sitting there waiting to bust you if you go over the speed limit. If there was nobody there, I could go whatever speed I want.
Yeah, and to this analogy that you're bringing in, what just happened here is like saying, do we need road signs? Yes, but why do governments contradict themselves on every political issue? And I'm like, wait a minute, that's two completely different things. Of course, we need road signs, and whether governments suck or not, it's a completely different discussion. So maybe the reason I get stuck up so much on things like that is because, being Greek, having studied philosophy in school, and then in college, university, all the way. This is not how you do an objective philosophical discussion about a subject. Let's say the subject is a bottle. We focus on the bottle. We just make assertions and hypotheses about the bottle. We don't bring in our feelings. So this is what happened already immediately. And trying hard to listen to him and not interrupt him every minute makes me like, say what is important to call out and what is not. I already did it. To give you an example, he made one statement and it was a big statement, so I had to separate it and say these are two different things. And when I said that, his response was another two different things. And I'm like, okay, let's just roll with it, see where it goes, because I don't think he got what I wanted, what I meant. Comments, or do I proceed? I just wanted to point that out. If you just scroll back a little bit and listen to this, you should be able to see that these are two different subjects. Whether my God sucks or not, it's a completely different subject than whether we need a God for an objective morality.
Right.
And throwing one in after the other makes the reader and the viewer confused, like somehow those are one thing. If my God is immoral, we can examine that, and we will. But whether a God and not many gods is necessary for morality is a subject in itself, should be separate.
True. But we also do want to be fair, because what I mean is, so whenever you have a debate coming up, you mentally prepare for your opponent, which, just like with football teams, you practice during the week differently depending on which team you're going to be playing up against. And Joe was prepared to go up against Joseph. And, mentally he had his head in that game. So I could imagine that you coming in last minute and suddenly his preparation for Joseph not being as totally relevant, I could see how that would be hard, is what I mean.
I get that, and you are right on that. It's like, you have prepared your defense, and, a completely different style of offense comes in, and you're not prepared for it. I get that. But me and Joseph completely align on the subject of a creator, of creation and morality, Christianity. So it is like it's the same team, just with a different system, Do you call them, you don't even have a soccer mentality, but do you call them systems, like the way a team is shaped in the soccer field? It's
I'm
called.
not sure. I'll be honest, I don't watch soccer. It's
Yeah,
not
I
a sport
know.
that interests me.
Yeah, you're an American, of course you don't. Everybody else does.
I know.
So
I've heard cricket is violent also, but I have never brought
violent
myself to watch a
cricket.
cricket game.
Cricket's violent.
Or I'm
Why?
sorry, rugby. Rugby. My bad.
All right. Okay. Okay. You're wrong. Oh no, it's not that you're wrong, Claude. The thing is that that's what we're talking about. That the morals that are determined by society are subjective, because different societies have different morals. But the essence of morals exists whether some society agrees with them or not. It's like truth. Truth exists. Whether you want to go with the truth or want to have your own different truth, that's another subject. If you want to say it's nighttime out, even if the sun is out, you get that right, but the sun doesn't care. The daytime doesn't care what you think. So there are some values that exist, whether we agree with them or not. And in order to have a standard on them, one God is required, somebody that made them. Stephen, get back here. I'm not going to watch my own debate. Get back here.
Oh, I'm here. So, but the other thing is that to say that it's society doesn't sound right, because in my society, there's a lot of different moral standards. So right around, and it lasts, I mean, it goes up and down, but one time it was 50, pretty well 55, 45, that abortion's murder. So 50%, no, that's not immoral. 45%, it is immoral to abort babies. And so, so even to say that morals are objective through a society, that's really not right. Even I'm sure I know it's true in communist China, they the government has its own morals standards, and a lot of the people either have to stay quiet. The Christian movement, the Muslim Uyghurs, is that the Uyghurs that are persecuted? Chinese government is trying to do genocide on them, but and then the religious group.
Well,
We're not
what?
to fight the government. The Falun Gong and the China. So there's a lot of different morals with individual people. So to say it's the nation, it's the society, is not really true. And so, but again, in China, the ruling authority is that you cannot believe in the nonviolent religion of Falun Gong. You can't be a Bible token Christian that has a home church without being registered by the state. And then, of course, the Muslim population called the Uyghurs, they are in concentration camps, and the Chinese government is actively doing a genocide on their culture. Of course, nobody cares because they're Asian people, and again, I totally disagree with what they believe in, but as a human, I think they have a right to believe what they want, not according to the Chinese government. So with that debate, then that and again, God can be a bad guy. Christian God might not even be the right one. Our stance is that to have an absolute, objective moral standard, you have to have a moral standard giver. If it's just random choice, then how come everybody, if it's through evolution, how come everybody doesn't have the same morality?
And,
It's
and,
because
and from what I understood from the title of this debate, this is what it was supposedly about. Whether in order to have objectivity, you need one ethics giver. And I was like, yeah, sure, of course you do. Like if you have many, you can't have it. There are subjective moralities. And Robin, since you're here, I don't know if you heard this at the beginning, right at the intro. I mentioned this when I left you guys to go out. I told the people that were waiting on me that I was on a debate, and they asked me what was the debate about, and I said whether a God is necessary to have an objective morality. And the guy that I said that to says, "Of course you do." I'm like, exactly, right? I mean, end of argument. And so we laughed about it, but the guy had nothing to do with apologetics. And he doesn't call himself a believer at all, but he's not calling himself a militant atheist at all. So it is not about your position. It is all your feelings about it. It's a philosophical question. assertion. No, not assertion. Assertions happen, but it's a philosophical question. So Dan, with your permission, if you're ready, let's get into it.
Let's go. I'm almost out of battery, so I'll switch just to being on comments when my laptop dies.
Okay, but I'm the only one that has watched this, and if you go do, I'll just. But it's your show. How can you leave your own show? Didn't you charge your cell phone?
Oh, my cell phone's charged. The laptop isn't. It was like 40%. It said 2 hours more, and now it's about ready to done. So it
Well,
lied to me.
Joseph, come here.
Oh,
Let's.
Joseph, come on, please. Robin, come on in.
Yeah, both of you.
Do we have a link out there for him?
No, I don't know.
See,
I
we're
don't know.
teasing. Let me
Yeah,
see.
we're just teasing you guys. All right, I'm
Right,
sending you.
yes. How do we post it there?
I'm
Maybe
sending
while
it
you're
out. I'm sending it out right now.
there. Oh,
Boom,
okay.
boom, 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 boom. Right. Oh, it was up there. It was on the top. All right. Let's roll. For me, it's 3 a.m.
Oh, good. You
So,
have 2 more hours.
oh yeah, right. I see this as like a nightmare now to go through all the whole thing and commenting on it. Oh, so let's skim through it.
Okay, so let me give you an example that I think is a very clear contradiction.
Right.
And I use this a lot. I talk about this a lot on my channel, actually. But
See, off we go. Now we're off the original discussion. Now we're going to talk about some atheists. I don't want to be specific, like I'm attacking TKA. Some atheists' view of why the God that I believe in is contradicting himself in the Bible. He is going to get his responses. I'm not posing because I didn't get to respond to him. He got his responses all right, but we're off the subject. Debate is off. Like this is no longer the subject. I'm insisting on this because I want to see people not having their feelings oozing through and their bias showing. Can you just pretend to only care for it philosophically? Just pretend, for the sake of me being there. Just pretend, please. But off we go. Let's see. Let's see where our God is contradicting himself.
there's a commandment that says, "Thou shalt not kill." 2 pages later, God orders them to go kill everybody around them, and to do it in awful ways at times. Orders them to take all their stuff, even though the commandments say, "Thou shalt not steal." Or orders them to take the little virgin girls and keep them as spoils of war. Because those are clear contradictions to me. They're not like, how are we looking further into it?
Right. All right. I'm just pointing out, we just jumped from whether a God is needed for an objective morality to your God sucks. That's where we jumped in. So this is the first thing that, since we jumped, I will play along. This is the first thing that an atheist says about the Christian God, this very contradiction. And what I said earlier is that these contradictions are there because people that are finding them, they don't care to look deeper to see what the truth is. So he was prepared for my brother, Joseph, to immediately start hitting him with accusations and attacks on his God and my God, instead of the subject that was supposedly the bait. or should we call the honeypot? You know, come in here. We're only going to talk about this. And you go in and it's like, your God sucks. And he's not the only one doing it, man. This disingenuine behavior is all over the militant atheists, all over them. Stick to the subject. Pretend to want to be philosophical about it. Just pretend. We'll know you're pretending, but we'll appreciate it. Right? Oh, man. I understand where you're coming from with this. The commandment is, "Thou shalt not kill." But the Bible also says that there is a time for peace and there is a time for war. And very unfortunately, in war, if you don't kill, you get killed. Ain't that the case? So in the case of those specific people that God told them to wipe them out, if you look into who they were, the Ammonites and there's another name too, because it's twice what this is happening. They were doing some things that your morality would be against it. And God's morality is way above mine and yours. And when you are having sex in feces, and then 9 months later you go back to the same feces and there's a big fire and you throw that child in the fire, not only is it immoral, unethical, all that, but it's also disease spreading, because the people that God chose, the Hebrews, they should not be tamed by diseases that there were no cures for yet.
So we kind of jumped a couple steps over there, I think, but like on the answer to the original question about this is war and they.
So wait a minute, who jumped? Joe, who jumped? Because I took the leap that you wanted me to take, but I didn't do it. So don't throw this to me. You asked about that specific thing. I give you a response about that specific thing, and instead of saying, "Oh, I see," you're saying, "Hey, yeah, but you know what? We jumped like 2 steps here, like you're off subject." No, you took us off subject. I didn't do it. Anyway, you know, so sometimes it's so many fish to kill, you don't know where to start. So
you know, that it's okay for them to behave in that way. Whenever the Hebrews did this, they didn't they weren't actively at war with these people. God sent them because these people believed in something different. Now, there were claims that they were sacrificing children, and okay, I'll give that. That's fine. But even if that's the case, how does killing all the women and children and men and animals, how does that, to me, that doesn't seem to solve that problem. That there's, you know, I still think there's clear moral contradictions going on there. I don't think saying, oh, it's war, because then you can just call anything war as an excuse for killing people. I don't think that's a fair assessment of what happened.
okay, I would respond, but you're saying that what I'm saying is not fair, but you stayed on the first part, and that's the reason why I went to the other part, because God tells them that if you have any blood spilled on you, you have to make a tent outside of the city and stay there for 7 days.
Yeah.
So
that's ritualistic, though.
No, I don't think it is ritualistic. I think it has to do with making sure that you didn't get contaminated.
No. So what you're talking about is in the book of Leviticus. And what is described in that whole thing is there's different things that they call unclean, because you need to be clean in order to be close to God. And that ritual and many of the others starts with going and killing 2 birds and then going down to the creek and washing your hands and praying. And then you go and you stay in the place for so many days. And they also do the same thing to women for having a period. They weren't aware of germs or disease or anything that we know that. That's so
because they were not aware. Because they were not aware.
Okay, let me interrupt here. Like, we're off in the weeds, I think, on this. And like,
we definitely were, Robin. We definitely were. At the same time, I don't think God told the Hebrews to punish women for having a period. I'm pretty sure that is not true. So anyway, just rolling my eyes and pressing play here.
I want to, and I saw Aaron Reese make a good point. Like, let's define what we're talking about here, okay?
Okay.
Good point.
Like, I feel like we're just going off in the weeds. And,
let's look. I'll just do the opening, okay? Let's just do the opening because we had no introduction that laid anything out. I'll do the opening. Achilles can just do a straight rebuttal against it instead of
and Achilles. Remind everybody, Achilles was not supposed to be in this debate. He's not prepared. He did not prepare for this. He knew nothing about even the topic till he got here. Yeah. So it's kind of like, but we're waiting on Joseph.
To be completely transparent, I have 2 pieces of a lens on my hand, and I'm trying to put them back together. I'm not the best on camera lenses. I'm telling you that for sure. They're too complicated, too tiny little stuff in there, but I'm trying to fix it. So my mind is there and here at the same time, because I was not expecting like, oh yeah, let's go in and have a formal debate. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So instead of it being so instead of this being like a formal debate, I'll give you my opening. It's short. It's a couple minutes. And instead of it being a formal debate, you can just respond to my position. How's that? Yep. That'll make it easier for you, and it'll let me put my position out there clearly.
Sounds like I was gonna have y'all define it. So you give your opening, and then I wanted to let
it's in my opening. Is why I suggested that.
Okay, what your debate? Yeah, your definition is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do here is what I asked him later to do, and he slipped through. Sorry for taking a minute to find the right expression. He slipped through my question. He didn't do what I asked him to do. So he's gonna give an introduction, which is okay. I mean, it's not long. It's maybe 8 sentences, but each sentence is a completely different subject. So he throws them all in together, which is what we call geese galloping. So you don't know which one to deal with first. So what I'm going to do is what he didn't do for me when I asked him to go through each sentence. So when he reaches the first full stop, I'm going to comment. And then on the second full stop, and on the third full stop. Just to point out how different all those subjects are, how a bias is clearly being seen coming through. This is not an introduction on being objective on a subject. And if you want to talk about objective morality, you better understand the term objective first. Then we'll go to the morality part. That's a more complicated term. So if you want to be objective, at least try in your introduction to just focus on the subject. But I don't think he does.
So Achilles,
I can't hear you, Dan.
You can't? All right.
Oh, I heard the can't part. All right. But well, I'm not Kent.
I'm here. I'm listening. You're doing great.
Yeah. Carrying on. Thank you, brother. That's it.
So I'll go ahead and do that. Is that okay with you, Achilles?
Yes, brother, go ahead.
Okay. So let me find the beginning here. All right. Is morality objective, like a built-in law of the universe, or is it something humans created? If morality were truly objective, that would mean that it's true no matter what anyone thinks. Even if every single person on earth thought that murder was perfectly fine, it would still be wrong, because that truth would exist outside of the human opinion.
And as I told him later, I 100% agree with that statement. That was a very true statement. That is what we mean objective morality. Whether we like it or not, it is there, it exists, and it is one. So very well done on this start. I told him already, I agree 100% with that statement. But then listen to the second statement of a supposed objective introduction.
And that sounds okay on the surface, but the second you ask why murder is wrong, you end up appealing to things like harm, pain, empathy, and suffering. All those are based on conscious experience. If no one existed to feel or value anything, the words good and bad wouldn't even make sense. So our sense of right and wrong ultimately comes from how actions affect beings that can feel, not from some cosmic rule book written about the universe. Now,
So far, no bias. This is his opinion. I hear it. All right, good enough. Good. So far, so good.
A lot of religious apologists try to do with this is they take their own moral instincts and they replace the statement, I think this is wrong, with God thinks this is wrong. And this goes into what's called divine command theory. And it's just that doesn't make these things objective. It just moves the subjectivity up one level. It's still humans deciding what they believe and then putting those words in God's mouth. If we're going to say that God is the source of morality, then we've got to deal with the problem of evil. If God is all good and all powerful, why is there so much suffering in the world? If he can't stop it, he's not all powerful. And if he won't stop it, he's not all good.
That is a different subject. And that goes down to what the Bible says and what the Bible claims. Like we jumped all the way from whether God is necessary and where do values come from to the Christian God. We skipped like all the other possibilities. So that shows a bias. Although I will agree with him that there are some people that impose their morality and saying the Bible said so. One example of that is the recent slavery of our civilization. I'm talking about the recent slavery that happened from old Europe and the US when it comes to Africa. It was all like, oh, the Bible said so. I agree with him here. That is a real bad and immoral thing to do. And God sees. But jumping then to God contradicting and not being either powerless or evil, starting to get really off subject. And let's see how it happens.
Either way, the idea that a perfectly moral God falls apart instantly. When you look at the Bible, supposedly the ultimate guide to objective morality, the contradictions are very apparent. The God depicted, excuse me, losing my voice.
Yeah, we excuse you, but there you go. You see, right after catching your breath from your initial statement, you're jumping into the contradictions in the Bible. You're immediately showing that your issue is not about determining whether a God exists or not for your own personal good, to see, wait a minute, was I brought here? If I'm brought here, if I'm created or evolved, what are the morals? Is there somebody that determines them? It's not for you. It's about attacking the Bible. So that it shows immediately in your introductory statement.
Achilles, am I coming in all right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing with the evil argument. Okay.
He gets a response on that.
I just wanted to really comment quick. Is
Yeah,
that
but go ahead. I'm just giving you a spoiler. He gets a response.
well, I'll say what I think, and then you'll.
Yeah. Yeah. It's your show, my brother. Go ahead.
You were right. No. So, all right. So slavery bad. So then, if I'm God, I'm not going to put up with slavery. I don't like it, but I've got a different purpose. But let's say that God wipes out everybody that believes in slavery. Okay. Now we won't count kids. Now you've got millions of kids. A lot of them not even be able to do anything. So do I leave children with people who believe evil things, even though I'm good, or do I not? And then, okay, well, he talked about, and he was wrong in that. And I don't know if you caught it. I was in between trying to get on here. Is that thou shalt not kill? Well, no, it's thou shalt not murder. Therefore, I'm going to, as God, anybody who murders, I'm going to take them out. Then everybody who, and we can flip flop whether adultery is bad or not. It's like, oh, they're adults. Okay, well, anybody who, and so you're going to go there. We're going to end up with 0 people, and then Jesus wouldn't have had to come and die. So God can be good and allow evil because he was not the one that created. Anyway, I'll see what you say on that. Let's keep going.
Very good point, though. Very good point, and I've never thought of that. Like in a world where everybody believes that slavery is fine, you gotta get rid of everybody. Then who raises the children? I mean, that is a very good point. Imagine all the U.S. getting wiped out, all the old, the mature individuals before the Civil War getting all wiped out, all of them. Like, who raised the children? Duh.
Yeah, then I can say, none of my descendants in America were pro-slavery. But I guarantee you there was a descendant back there before that was pro-slavery. Somewhere Europe, wherever.
And we'll talk about slavery in this discussion here as well later on, because as you can imagine, as Joseph already suspects, all these arguments against Christianity were brought up. So slavery was brought up, the inconsistencies of the Bible, according to atheists, were brought up. This was not a debate about objective morality. But so you'll see that happening too. Let's go.
Boys. The God depicted in the Bible commands his followers to wipe out entire nations, take their land, keep the young girls as property, and enslave people. Those passages are in Numbers 31, 1 Samuel 15, Exodus 21, and there's lots more of these we can find. Yet modern believers agree that genocide, slavery, and owning people are wrong. So either morality changes or God does. And I imagine that the theist is going to say that the morality changes rather than God. That tells us something important, though. Morality clearly evolves. What's moral in one era can be a horrific crime in another. That's not because a God changed his mind. It's because we changed as humans. Humans developed empathy, fairness, and cooperation because they help us live together and reduce harm. We don't need to die. We don't need divine permission to know that kindness is better than cruelty or that freedom is better than slavery. We figured that out for ourselves, often in spite of religion, not because of it. So unless someone can show me a moral rule that's true for everyone everywhere, regardless of culture, emotion, or belief, objective morality isn't a universal truth. It's just people taking their personal values and giving them cosmic authority. That's it.
So where, first of one thing I don't, I'm not here to do, plus we didn't plan this either. It's not to give responses I didn't give. I think I gave him the responses. What I'm trying to do here is to show some things that are not visible immediately in a debate, and how, as the other debater, that happens to be me here, where do you start with that introductory statement that had all these issues, which are different subjects? The last subject that we heard here is that according to the way TKA Joe sees morality, man created God. He didn't state it like that, but that's exactly what he is inferring, that we created the morals and we put a God there. That's what he's saying. So where do you start? Do you start by the inconsistency of why God asked the Hebrews to wipe out the Baal worshippers? Do you start with the original subject? Do you start with where does evil come from? Do you start with, did we create God and morals and they evolved? Where do you even start? So I don't even remember my response, but I do think I started by saying I agree with only the first sentence that you said, but let's see.
Okay,
Right.
so let me ask a question, Joe. So you're saying that even if God exists, that morality is still subjective based upon him being the subject, right?
And you see, what I'm trying to tell you is reflected upon what Robin just did right now. She's taking all that he said, and she's telling him, all right, so concerning the subject, is that what I understood? That is your position? She's like bringing him back to what the subject is supposed to be. Thank you, Robin. Thank you for just respecting discussions, respecting what a debate should be. It's a subject. We should be sticking to that subject. All right.
Well, because God doesn't talk about morality in that way. God, it's crimes against God is what God talks about in the Bible. So, whenever you say that certain things are objective morality, you can't use murder because God commands murder. So if there is a situation, if war is the situation where murder is permissible, then it's subjective. That means it's subjective right there.
Which is false. It's exactly what Joseph said here. And I wish I could have thought of that. This is how different debaters debate in a different style. There's a difference between murder and killing. And I'm pretty sure it is also in the Hebrew, but it's definitely a different word in Greek. You can kill, but murder is, if you do it with an intent of anything else than being forced to by war or by some circumstances, like they attack you in your own house and you're armed, there's a difference between killing and murdering. If you do it out of spite, you get jail time. If you do it out of something to earn, you get jail time. If you do it out of self-defense, it's not murder. So that is the right response to this. But again, I'm trying. I'm not successful, but I'm trying not to just bring up things I didn't think of, and having a second debate with the debater who is not here right now. I'm trying not to do that. I know I'm failing, but my attempt here is to just point out some inconsistencies concerning the essence of debating, sticking to the subject and all that. Welcome back, Dan.
Yep.
Miss,
Sorry.
I know you're in California and you like In and Out. Is that why you're coming in and out all the time?
Oh, you got to come here so we can have In and Out. Now you make me.
Dude, I miss In and Out. I miss it so much. And you know what's funny? I mentioned it somewhere here in the live streams one day to somebody. I think it was you. And you told me that what you love about it is that there is a Bible verse at the bottom of each box.
Yes.
Can you believe I never flipped the box and I never saw that there was a Bible verse there?
No,
I
it is. You know,
I, I
they're not in
swear,
your face.
I never saw it. I never saw that there was a Bible verse. I wasn't even a believer, but I spent 2 years in California, and In and Out was In and Out, my system, all the time. And I never saw that. Man, it should be on the top of the box. That's how a silly Greek could notice, right? A student Greek, even worse. His
Well,
mind was.
I had to be told too, so
Ah, okay.
I
That
don't go
makes me
to a restaurant to read all their container.
that makes me feel a lot better because I was like, how many Bible verses did you throw on the garbage without even realizing? So, yeah, at least I could have been reading them, learn a thing or two earlier, but they went to. Anyway, all right, let's go.
The divine command theory is might makes right, and so God is all powerful and our creator, so has the ability to say what's good and what's right and tell us that. But there's no evidence of that. It's clearly projection. It's the theist who believes that, projecting their own values onto the mouth of God.
But isn't that the case with evolution as well? Might makes right. Because my God tells me to love my neighbor as myself. So that takes murder out of the way. It takes lying out of the way because I wouldn't want to be lied to. So here's the objective morality. You have a book that talks about all the commandments being summed up to two: love your creator and love your neighbor as yourself. And there are many cases where might makes right doesn't work with those statements. But when it comes to evolution, might makes right all over the place. So he's accusing Christianity that the reason we have that morality is because who can mess with God? You know, he is the strongest one, so he gets to call the shots. But that's not the truth. It is the other side that is survival of the fittest. So again, it's a little bit hidden, but it's still an accusation. But I was in a good mood, so I didn't keep pointing out.
You're always in a good mood, but that is exactly
That ain't the case. That ain't the case. If you go back to the show we had with Bruce here, I wasn't my best self. I lose patience.
that is easy to do. But on that subject, there, you know, you it's the fallacy of authority, and so you look at it, and again, we all have the same evidence. There is these moral standards, but are they? And they're arguing that they happened by chance because there's no part of the genome that says, okay, if this has a mutation, it's going to give somebody morals, and if you don't have those mutations, you're going to be the lion eating the baby zebra or other baby lions. So I would think keep going. What you're doing right so far has been great.
Let's go.
Because
Okay.
they don't agree that those things are bad, or they would agree that those things are bad.
Would you say though that if God exists and he then object, like morality
If God
is
gave
still
us the morals, it's
subjective.
still subjective. Yeah.
Okay, that's what the question. Okay, all right, Achilles. Do you disagree with that or agree with that?
There are multiple points I disagree with. As I said, I think a little deeper study on each case. And my bad here, because what Robin did as a balanced host should do is she summed up all those different subjects that he brought up to make a consistent statement and ask me whether I agree with that statement or not. But I was so influenced by all the things that I had heard that I didn't understand that she's asking me if I disagree or agree with the statement. I thought at that moment if I agree or disagree with everything I've heard. And my response is I agree with some, but no, I don't agree with everything. But Robin tried to squeeze out one statement about the subject, which she can throw to the other debater, and he can focus on the statement. So that was professional hosting. I missed it. It went over my head, and I went go straight to respond to everything I've heard. So my bad.
No, that see, Robin, she comes, like, oh, I'm just a milk truck driver, da 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 da, but no, that girl has some tools and intelligence. And the thing is, and I
Yeah, and it's what God says that I think it's Paul says through Paul's mouth that thank God for hiding so many things from the prudent, and he reveals them upon children. Because there are some, you don't need to be like a scholar to understand fundamentals of having a discussion, right? You just need to be, I don't know, a human.
oh, exactly, and we all have our opinions, but to be open, and then because a lot of our stuff is, and like they say, it's like, oh, our morals, but I'm saying more of our outlooks are come about our culture, about how we were raised. If I look at people and it's like, man, that guy's goofy, or she's like, oh. And then like my best friend who was big time, he almost died from his body shutting down from alcohol, and I helped him out, and I hadn't seen him for years, but he called me up out of the blue, like, hey Dan, I need some help. And it turned out, he confessed to me, like, he was 3 years old. Here's a scrapping dude that, he was he was a force to be reckoned with. And but he's talking about when he's 3 years old, and both his mom and dad would just hold him by one arm and just like whack him with a metal hanger. And it's like, oh man, I can lighten up on my judgment of, like, what a slime ball he could be at times, when he's so loving at one time, and then the next time he's talking about, not literally, but I mean like slitting somebody's throat. And it's like, oh, or just almost dying from alcohol, and so then that really helped me. And like, how can I judge? How can I judge if I knew him as a high school kid, grammar school kid, and he was nice, he protected me, he was funny, and not knowing that, so that would have been sixth grade. So that would have been, oh, probably just 3 to 4 years prior, maybe 6 years prior, whatever it was. He was getting totally beat up to a pulp by his parents, who's supposed to be loving. And it's like, oh, Dan, don't judge. And then that's why I just keep out the message, because God's love will come through. And, yeah. And so it sounds like to me, and I don't know, but it's like this dude has to gone through something. If I'm going to have a debate on tomato growing, I'm not going to throw an argument against a farmer back east or in Greece. Well, that farmer in Greece, he does tomatoes, and so that way I don't want tomatoes. It just doesn't make sense. And I'm hoping there's something fundamental, some pain, some hurts that would make somebody, you know, um, argue like this guy. I like listening to him. But why would you go so off? You're picking the subject, or Joseph did, and then that had nothing to do. And then that was great of Robin, because I think she's interested in learning. She's interested. She has her beliefs here, and seems like, and I think like you and me, it's like, yeah, show me something, and I'm not stuck to this thing. So anyway, that was interesting. But you hit
Yes.
well.
No, I was just commenting back and forth. Ready? Ready to roll?
Let's do this thing.
Shows what the case is on each agree with. As I said,
Achilles, do you disagree with that or agree with that?
there are multiple points I disagree with. As I said, I think a little deeper study on each case shows what the case is about. For example,
is there a context in which slavery?
So you see here, I'm lost. What do I respond to first? The subject of morality, the subject of God not being fair, the subject of us imposing morality upon a deity and saying that it exists, the existence of evil, what God did with the Ananites, which one? And I'm lost. And he notices I'm lost, and instead of giving me a second to come up with a first statement to respond, he immediately jumps back in and throws a different question. So, Joe, good job on trying to confuse your opponent, like those in the boxing ring that run around a lot. But you'll see that I didn't get confused. But that's the attempt that I'm just exposing. Let's go.
Is okay.
For example,
is there a context in which slavery is okay?
And not only that, he brings a completely different subject. Like, he just had his pie, the whole thing, talked about what he wanted to talk about, but he forgot to bring in slavery. So when the other person is trying to respond to all that, which subject to start with, he's like, yeah, and what about slavery then, right? What about that? Okay, I don't know who you are, Dub, D-U-B, that you just joined. Can you talk? I can hear you. You're muted though. I can't hear you if you are muted. I don't think I've seen you before. We have. I'm bringing you on stage.
Yeah, all right.
The thing is that there are people out there that when you don't know who they are,
Yeah,
and
I get you.
They
I
do
get
some
you.
crazy.
Carry on,
Okay.
my friend. Okay.
All right. It is a different subject. I would give you a response, but I want to continue on the previous one.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah. The reason I made the pause is I was trying to remember without looking at the screen what your abbreviation is. I just remembered it by looking at the screen. So TKA. So I don't always say Kentucky Atheist, blah blah. So my brother.
Joe.
Okay, so Joe, I'm Achilles, right? If you don't recall. So the case is that God didn't instruct to take the young girls. He said, if they are virgin, you can take them because I'm wiping out all their nation completely. And if they're not contaminated by those sexual habits, because you said that they didn't know about germs, but that is funny. You also said that truth if there is an objective truth, it must be there whether we know about it or not, whether we agree with it or not. It's there, right? The same thing happens with germs. Whether you haven't figured it out yet, the germs are germs. They are there.
No.
Yes. You can die out of something you
Wait a
didn't
minute.
know existed. What does he mean? No. What? Let's see that. What? I mean, I remember, but doesn't even make sense. Of course, if you don't know that something is there, that thing is still there. He said that at the opening statement about truth. And now when it comes to germs, he's like, no. If you
So
don't,
let me ask you a question. Do you believe that that sex in itself, in a way, joins people together as one?
amen. Yep. And on much more, many more levels than what we take as a civilization today that it does.
Okay, so your answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what you're saying in this video with this other gentleman who doesn't understand, that could be true. Like I'm sorry, I've had plenty of partners, whatever. I've made mistakes, but I know that I've had no such problems with like lockjaw or anything like that. But I slept with this one woman who said she had lockjaw, pretty much like her jaw cracks a lot, and then all of a sudden I have it, which is odd. It's very weird, but
It is.
just
It is
you'll press play.
because
It's very weird.
I never thought that it is. It relates to something that you can catch, but there is a chance. Yes.
And I'm agreeing with you. And no matter how weird it sounds, I think it's probably the truth. You know,
And just
like
because,
stay away because you can catch something that is not even in the books, not
right,
even something a scientist can explain to you, but
right,
it's just a part of whoever that person is. If they're toxic, you will catch their toxicity, like, and
right.
they won't be able to prove it. Yeah. Okay.
And the reason, and the way we discovered AIDS is because people were dying, so we investigated why. All right, there were a specific group of people in San Francisco that started dying, and it looked like at the beginning people didn't care, the medical community didn't care because of who that group was. So they started doing some crazy things, and at some point the medical community did care, and they looked into it and they discovered the AIDS. So it's not like we knew it first and then we started dying from it. We started dying from something that we didn't know anything about. Dan, I'm only muting you because there's some weird sounds coming through. Remember to unmute if you want to say something.
And I will tell you again. I went to somebody who was examining my mouth. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the person, all of a sudden my jaw popped, and I'm like, that's nothing new to me. But they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And I remember exactly when this has started, and it was prior to having relations with a woman who claimed that she had that problem. So it, I'm not saying that that's proof, but what I'm saying is that I think that it does exist. If you're not careful, you're basically inheriting something by having relations with them in this way. You're inheriting something that you don't even understand that you are inheriting. So,
And the
and
medical
I don't know.
community, and even the
I
medical
don't know.
community, yeah, doesn't understand it yet. So, of course, there could be things that are there, whether we know about them or not. So, I don't know how he says no to that statement. I mean, for me, it's just funny. And I think I'm giving him the response that you can die from something you didn't know existed? I mean, no. So, my new friend Dub, what we're doing here is just going through a debate that took place yesterday, and just pointing out some uh, inconsistencies when it comes to methods of debating. And I appreciate you being around, because what you did right now is proving that that is not my opinion. This is a well understood fact. Like, you are this third voice that comes in and says, here's an example of how it can happen on this. I'm just giving you a layout of what this show seems to be like, going through this
Yeah.
debate. All right.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for the layout. You can keep rolling on with your video. However, what I'm saying is true for whoever is listening. I have never had a problem with lockjaw, nothing like that, my jaw cracking. But she did actually mention that she had that, and then I slept with her, right? And then I had problems right after that. There are things that happen that is not explainable by scientific means. I'll just put it that way. So go ahead.
No, and I agree. I agree 100%. I could take this deeper and tell you that I have even deeper thoughts on how many things we inherit on the spiritual and on the emotional level, not just the physical level. When this unison happens, and this civilization has taught us, the more the merrier. Like today, the way it is, the norm, right? But yeah, but I'm becoming uh, this mesh of the emotions and the spiritual things of all the other partners. So there should be caution, and this world that we live in today is not cautioning us enough.
100%. What you're saying is entirely true.
Dan is coming back in and out and out and in. All right, here you are. All right, let's go.
That's a
Let
false
me
equivalence.
let me get Achilles back though to answering that question, the first one.
Sorry.
Okay, Achilles, would you say that you believe God? Of course, you believe God exists. If God exists, then morality is objective based on God's, like His laws or whatever. That's your position, right?
We ended up having them written, but as Joe said, the truth is the truth, and even before we know about it, it still was the truth, the morality that God has, and then
Okay.
we got it in written form, right?
So just coming from God makes it objective, even though like that that's does it
Yeah,
change?
I think with the lack of the belief in a deity that created everything, and we're not talking about 50 deities that were banging each other like the Greek mythology. We're talking
Yeah,
about one entity,
Well,
all right? I'm
yeah.
I
sorry?
like the Greek.
I was just
Yeah,
joking about what you said.
yeah, I didn't catch the joke. I wanted to hear it. So
I just said, well, damn, all the gods aren't having orgies.
yeah, if Zeus could keep his in his pants, whatever it is, we wouldn't have Greek mythology at all. Like,
So can you address the problem of evil?
yes, um, just pointing out, new subject, right? Geese galloping at its best. So he asked me about he had his introductory statement. I was trying to give a response to it, and then he threw in slavery, and then I kind of, I don't know, I drifted off by saying, before I respond to slavery, let me go to the previous subjects, and somehow I got lost there. Robin is trying to bring us back to the question. So I'm listening to her and I'm trying to respond to her. And then I get this new bomb. What about the existence of evil? And you don't seem
Well,
to care for the
well,
answer.
well. So prior to him asking that, he said something about gods having orgies. Now, that's not really a subject that anyone really wants to think about. However, um, do
It
you
was
not
just,
think that a god can have the same feeling of whatever that would be without even calling it an orgy?
yeah, no,
So,
just to his defense, it was just a response to the joke that I made about
oh, okay,
trying to say that I'm talking about an objective. The subject of the debate was objective morality. So my issue that we are doing this review here is that dealing with an atheist, although he speaks about objective morality, in order to define it, he needs to attack Christianity. So philosophically speaking, this is not on the subject. This is just anti-God narrative that he's doing. So in order for me
okay,
not to be able to respond to it, he throws one thing after the next.
okay,
And one of the things that I'm trying to get to with the help of Robin was if we need one God for objective morality. So I just said, and we're talking about one God and not 50 gods. Uh, and there I made that joke, and he continued it on with orgies. But we're talking about Greek mythology where Zeus was not very faithful, and that's why we have it. I, the whole thing is about Zeus' sexual intercourses with
oh,
women.
okay, okay. No, I see, I see. He was just trolling, basically. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah, yeah. But it's still an attempt. I'm trying to get back to the subject, and I brought in how important it is to have one deity if we're going to talk about objectivity in morals. Because if you have many deities, then which one is right? My deity or your deity? Mine says don't do this, yours says it's fine to do it. So then it becomes subjective again. So I was trying to get to it. I probably shouldn't have gone into Greek mythology. It gave him the room to say that.
Whatever. You're trying to do what you can do to illustrate points, and so whatever. You
Yeah.
sometimes we have to go into areas that we don't like, but it's noble to do so. So go ahead.
Thank you. And then it turns out, you're making the mistake of this just brings up a completely new discussion, and you are not able to go back to why you brought that up to begin with. So yeah, I have to be more careful.
But
So
you don't though, because I think it was even Paul said something like to the Jew he was a Jew, to the Gentile he was a Gentile, whatever, to the godless he was godless, or he seemed that way, or whatever. But so you have to go into various different platforms and able to get the point across, and that's actually admirable to do so. You know what I mean? Like you have to understand, you can't just stay in the same comfort zone that you have. It's good to go outside of that.
thank you for your kind words. And the reason this is happening is that his introductory statement had 10 different, not 10, but 5 different subjects. And I've been trying to get back to each one. The first one was that truth is and should be objective. And to this, I brought in the germs that just as germs exist, if whether we like it or not, therefore truth also exists whether we like it or not. And he disagreed with that. And then I'm trying to get to the other ones, but trying to stick to the subject. So I'm a little confused at this point, but
Right,
trying.
right, and I'm telling you, like seriously, I did not have any problem with my jaw before laying down with this one particular woman. and she mentioned beforehand that she had like this crack jaw thing. Like every time, like I have a trouble with just chewing on food, my jaw will crack multiple times.
Yeah,
But
I've seen that with a friend. She
so
had that going on. Thankfully, she was just a friend because I would be where you are right now, I guess. I
oh,
would have.
well, yeah. I mean, and who knows? I can't say that that's actual factual, but
No, it's a hypothesis, though, that is based upon something that is a weird coincidence. Her saying it and then you having it, it is a weird coincidence.
it is a weird coincidence. Now, maybe that's all it is, but I don't know. It's enough to get me to think about my own moral activities when it comes to women, and probably shut it down until I find the right one. And I think that makes sense. So,
Doesn't it?
that's
Doesn't it? I do think that I don't know your age, but I realized that at my 30s, later, even later than 30s. So yeah, I think unfortunately we weren't taught that way. Children in the 50s were told not to have many partners, even if their parents didn't understand why. But we have a book that tells us to only have one. Now, it's not explaining the reason why, but we are beginning to see the reasons why.
yeah,
With
I think there's something really heavy to that. And maybe it's something that the scientific community does not want to actually admit. That could be true too,
I agree.
because if you want to examine uh, the religious side of this argument, and you totally want to deny it, uh, and then you have the scientific side. Well, the scientific side has not been so good on predicting things as of late, right? So how can you trust the scientific side? So then the truth is, it's either on one side or the other, or somewhere in the middle. It's definitely not on the scientific side. I think they want to see people be harmed, be hurt, be sick, and then give them half of the antidote so they can live off of their pharmaceuticals for the rest of their life and pay them $1,000 a month or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
But
I agree with everything you've said, and I just want to add that after 2020, people should be a little wary about the scientific community, suspicious. They're not always working for our benefit. Maybe money is too good sometimes. So,
yeah, and specifically on the topic of something that is so what would you say secretive, let's say, as
mhm.
sex. It's a very secretive subject. We want to keep that all into our own household and not blare it out to the world, right? But
Yeah, but haven't we somehow? I'm not blaming anybody specific here, but somehow haven't we been like indoctrinated into thinking that the more you have had, the better man you are because
yeah,
um, it's survival of the fittest, and
right, yeah, and
somehow it's the norm.
I will tell you that directly. That's not true. I will tell you. I consider myself somewhat of a man whore, which is really bad. But
Hmm.
at least I can admit it and be like, I don't want to be this, and I don't want to do this anymore. I want one and one only. You know what I'm saying? But
Amen.
now we have the idea that a man can be a woman and these other things, everything's running wild, and it's just like, whoa, like what's going on? Wait, and they're trying to do it in the open. They walk down the street, first thing you hear in maybe an interview for a job, well, what's going on with you in your bedroom? And it's like, no, that has nothing to do with life. It's listen, I don't do any drugs. I've never been a criminal. I don't have any tattoos. I you know, A B C D F G, and then but that's still not good enough. They want to hire a criminal instead of me. Come on, man. This it don't make sense. You hear what I'm saying?
I 100% agree, and I just want to throw out there that because you are asking for that one person, I hope God brings her, because you had
Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You
you
don't have to
brought.
say anything more. I appreciate that.
So let's watch a little bit more. Dan is probably, I don't know, battery dead, his phone or his laptop. And for me, it's 4 a.m. I am in Greece, and Monday is coming right up. So we're not gonna watch um, a lot more.
Yeah, man. You're almost bedtime. You're bedtime. You're
I'm
past
past.
bedtime
I'm
level. What are
past
you
it.
doing up right now?
Yeah,
What are you
yeah.
doing up?
It's this since I met the Proverbs Guys team here, my schedule has been upside down. I live more in US time than Greek time. I'm enjoying it, but sometimes it just wears me out.
Ah, I see. I see. Okay.
So let's get a little deeper here. We've watched just a little bit for those that are still with us and watching. You can watch the rest of this in the Kentucky Atheist Show. The thing is that I believe that you have seen so far how some methods have been exposed. And when it comes to the argument, the original argument, we'll continue and you can watch the rest of the thing there. But you can't say that this has been a genuine approach to the subject, completely unbiased. It has not been. We have here Joe is an atheist, Heart of Flesh, myself. I'm Achilles, by the way. I'm a theist and a creationist. I believe in 6-day creation. Robin is an atheist, but she's the host and she's doing a terrific job. She's trying to go back to the subject every time Joe throws in something new. She's trying to roll us back in the subject, and I appreciate that a lot. So sorry for talking that much. I'll just press play. It was a little bit of a summary for. Right. There was a rebellion. There was an issue, and the issue comes from. Okay, so I'm addressing the matter of evil that he just brought up before me managing to respond to the previous. He's like, okay, then what about evil then? I'm like, okay, let's respond to this.
So can you address the problem of evil?
Yes. There was a rebellion. There was an issue, and the issue comes from free will. God will not force his will upon his creation. And that leaves room for somebody to say no. And an angel said no. And that is the source. It is not that God created evil. It is that somebody chose evil, and now we get to be tested in a spiritual battlefield between good and evil.
The Bible plainly says that God created everything, including evil.
Yes, because he created Satan, but who rebelled, but in the creation, which I believe in, everything on the Garden of Eden before Satan's rebellion did not have evil in it. That started happening from the rebellion. So by responding to this, before you give me a response to that, I would like to ask for this. Can we go sentence to sentence in your opening statement, and I can tell you pause here so I can respond to each point?
Sure, we can break it down into pieces if you want.
Yeah, so you can read again, and I'll let you know when to stop.
So, okay, that'll work. We'll do it that way. I was going to say I have, because the way that I wrote this was I had certain points, premises, if you want, that I was going to make throughout it. And so it is broken up that way, actually. But so, anyway, I'll go and you can tell me. If morality were truly objective, that means that no matter what anyone thinks, like if every single person on earth thought murder was fine, it would still be wrong because the truth supposedly exists outside human opinion. That's the position of objective morality. It sounds cool. Well, we can skip that part.
Yeah, I'm not posing you because I think we addressed this already, and I do agree that when an objective morality exists, it exists way before getting conceived by man. But before we got here, I could add something though. Before we got the Bible, me as a Gentile, before we got the Bible, because the Hebrews were already receiving it, the Greeks, that was what philosophy was about, was arriving to truths with different methods of deduction, logic, mathematics sometimes, and trying to arrive to universal truths. That is another term for objective truth, universal truth, right? That it stands, and all we got to do is figure it out. So I agree with that opening, the thesis statement of your opening. I agree.
You agree with my opening? Is that what you're saying?
I said with the thesis statement of your opening. Which is not exactly a thesis statement. The thesis statement comes at the end, and it supposedly it like carries the whole message in one statement. No, this was the introductory sentence, and on the introductory sentence, we agree 100%.
Yes.
An objective truth.
He agreed with the part. Yeah, he agreed with the part that said that if you like that objective morality would exist outside of the human mind, like.
Yeah. That was just me defining what objective morality was. I was just.
We agree on the definition.
So.
Good job.
Can you hear me, Dub?
So he agrees with your definition of objective morality.
I agreed with his, but the thing is that if you watch our show here early from the beginning, you'll see that on this introduction that he gave, which he's not going to read the second statement from now on. He's not doing what I asked him to do. I asked him to go sentence to sentence because he brought up, right after this statement, he brought up another 5 different subjects that do not relate to objectivity. Or to whether we need a God for objective morality. So he doesn't do that.
Isn't that coincidental? Because somebody can agree on one moral standpoint, and then they're going to disagree. You might agree on 2 moral standpoints, but then you're not going to agree on the 3rd one or the 4th one, and you might agree on the 5th one. But the problem is you have no moral standard that actually will exist on a solid foundation.
Right.
Pardon me, I have hiccups, but
right. That's the issue, and supposedly this is a discussion on that issue, on whether we need one God to have objective morality, and on the very second sentence, he starts attacking the Christian God. Like he jumps immediately from the actual subject to why the Christian God is not moral. He's inconsistent. He brings in slavery. He brings in the existence of evil. So all those things I tried addressing with him one by one. But he stops here when it comes to reading it. I remember how he does it, but we don't continue reading his original statement. The funny thing is that although Robin, the host, understood where I agreed upon, he changed what I said to saying, "Oh, you agree with my position," and he laughed at this like he won the argument. And even Robin understood that no, he agreed with that part that you're saying about what the definition of an objective morality is. That's another little disingenuous thing, but let it
That's
slide.
that's correct. The problem that we have is, so let's say that Christian understanding, which I believe is the only understanding, is not correct. Now, let's rewind to where the Christian understanding even became an understanding that is from Judaism. So now we're moving back into the days of the Pharisees. Excuse me, I have the hiccups, so
Hmm.
please excuse
Hmm.
me. But
Yeah, yeah.
we're moving back into the days of Pharisees who claim to understand the law and interpret the law, and so much as they're trying to tell the people how to
Hmm.
enact the law and live it out, right? So the problem is you have something like Jeremiah 8:8 that says basically uh your scribes who scribes, Pharisees,
Hmm.
they're a similarity when it comes to the New Testament. So it says the scribes have made the law into a lie with their pen or something to that effect. When in fact, it's actually saying it's not that they wrote things down poorly or anything like that. It's saying they are your modern day lawyers, your interpreters, your attorneys, your judges, all of these things. You see what I'm saying? And
Yep.
so when these people uh, are misinterpreting, and Jesus comes along and goes, "No, they just don't know what they're talking about." Um,
Right.
right. So that's where it gets back and goes.
Eh,
It
eh,
seems like people want to go back to those times and they want to establish something similar to this pharisaical way in terms of I'm the one who's going to tell you how to live. You know, I'm the one. It's over here.
100%. 100%
You know what
agree.
I'm saying?
Yes,
Okay.
and this gives room to atheists just because man has taken that moral code that God gave and are flipping it for profit or for anything else, for power, better status, for whatever they do.
Right.
Then
Because
they attack.
you can tell me, hey, there's a person on the corner, they're starving, they need food. I'm going to want to naturally go over them and give them food or money or something, right? So all they have to do is create is a scenario in which I feel pity for them, and then boom, they have it already. They took the power right there. You got it from me. You got it. Like I'm listening to you. You're saying there's a cause. All of a sudden, I want to go over and give to that cause, but that cause might not be true cause. You see, and this is what's happening all over the world.
and,
You know, if you understand.
yes, and people changing the moral code. that doesn't change the objectivity of the initial moral code. So men suck. And if it was up to men, then of course there is no objective morality. So for somebody to pick up the Bible, find one verse out of it, and make a full denomination and a cult out of it, that doesn't change the fact that that sentence was not alone. It has hundreds of pages before it and after it. But atheists are going to focus on the way men have treated the moral code and then attach that to a God, to God writing it. Like you see, he's not all good because he endorses slavery. And where do you first address what men have done with slavery and how God is telling us that we are free and we don't belong to anyone? Although I am enjoying this 100%, and thank you for joining, Doug. I really enjoyed your input. I am afraid I have to cut this short. The other two hosts went off. They left me alone watching my own debate, and it feels like Inception. And it is
You got it, my friend. Don't worry about it. Hey, you've done your deeds for the night. It sounds like, and I appreciate being able to just have a platform to come on and talk. So that's good.
Thank you for coming in, and keep in mind that we are an open panel of. We enjoy people coming in, sharing their story, their testimony. That thing that you just said about your jaw, anything that would matter to somebody else. So consider this as a platform that you can come in anytime and speak your
It's
mind.
listen, it's very poor on me to admit that I am what I am. I mean, I have a fairly high body count. Oh well, you know what I mean? Like it's not as high as some other people are. I am cognizant, and I've always been cognizant in my life of not doing too horrible at this, but mine's higher than I'd like to admit. So, I do admit that certain factors that I have experienced in my life, and I think that's one of them. This jaw thing. There's no one that's going to be able to just say that that is actually scientifically what happened. However, that's just my experience, so I'll share it with you, and that's what you get. And whether you want to believe it or not, that's up to you. That's fine.
You see that I do. Um,
Yeah.
we have had a show here called Sexually Transmitted Demons, which
Well, I
coincidentally,
don't want that. I don't want that. You know, if I just got a little crack in my
yeah,
jaw or
no, that's not
whatever,
a
you know
demon.
what I mean? Like I don't want anything
Yeah.
sexually. Yeah, no, I don't want
But
any of
I'm
that. So
no,
yeah.
but I'm just telling you that the reason I believe that what you're saying is that I believe even deeper things that can happen when you are only lusting for another person. There is a lust demon
Who
involved
there's
in
no
the
one and there's the thing is there's no one that can tell you otherwise. There's no
right.
proof that can be given. There's no either way, whether
And
it's true or false, there's no one that can tell you. I'm just telling you what I experienced. I did not have any kind of cracking in my jaw and then all of a sudden I did. So,
no, and thank you for bringing it up. Now, I would love it if next time you see us having an open panel and discussing, come in so we can talk A about this, but B, um, everything I've heard from you, I would like to know more. So keep an eye out for when we are live. And even if we say something you disagree with,
Mm.
come in and share why. We might be
Right
wrong,
on, my friend.
right?
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. I will come on. By the way, I've been kicked off of like probably out of the 200 panels I've been on, probably 85%. And I'm okay with that. I don't really care because I
From
can't care.
from what I've
So it's
seen
just
so far,
it's just what it
from what I've seen so far, I don't see why. I don't understand
Yeah.
why.
Hey,
Um,
let me give you the opportunity. Get some sleep, my friend. You're shutting it down. Get some sleep, okay?
Thank you for
Yeah?
dropping by, and I hope to see you soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
God bless, brother.
Yep.
And for the rest of you, so we stopped this because I can't take more, guys. I already experienced this once, and I can't be commenting on me commenting. It is a little bit weird. So we stopped this at the minute 58, and there is still 1 full hour and 10 minutes. So go ahead if you enjoy. Go ahead and watch it at the Kentucky Atheist Show. Throw him a like. If you're not subscribed, subscribe there too. He's an atheist. He enjoys going back and forth, doing what he feels he needs to do, and we sometimes go in to do what we feel that needs to be done. And if you want to see more, go there after the 58th minute. And I'm gonna wave good night from here. I am going to apologize to 154 comments that I've missed. Oh man. Okay, so Steven is somewhere there, right? Okay. At least you guys are talking about you're talking between you uh, among yourselves. So this is good to me. I don't need to respond. You got this, right? But I see I just see this. I prove this, that. Yeah, that's not exactly the case. But we didn't go to the moon. Nor are we going yet. They're gonna fake it again. But people like me have their telescopes ready, and they're big ones. We're waiting to see. There were no big telescopes back in the 69. Let's see now. They'll be like, oh no, this time we went to the dark side of the moon. That's why nobody on the earth could see us. Oh, right, right. We so believe you. We so believe you. But we ain't gonna get into that argument, brother, because it's a done deal. You guys just need to do a little bit of science. That's all. True science. True science is not, um, hey, the consensus says this. Hey, by the way, hello, Kentucky Atheist. Um, Sorry for cutting this kind of short because I'm going to bed. Um, but I hope you caught um, the fact that I'm telling people to come over there and watch the rest of it there and subscribe and give you a like. At least I can do for a great time that I had. And you guys are actually debating. So for me, this is great. I will say it again. I'm saving myself from responding to all that. You guys have it. Um, and yeah, we agree on what matters. What matters is that there is a creator, right? And nobody is breaking relationships among Christians because of silly non uh, doctrinal things, right? We just think this or we think that. For example, if that was the case, the book of Revelation would have separated every Christian on the earth and there will be just unities. No. Monads. Monads. I'm a Christian monad. I believe this is going to happen. I'm a Christian monad that believes that, right? So what matters is that this is God's inspired word, and we're learning from it. As our new viewer here joined in and told us, there are things that are there whether you know them or you don't. So the more we read the Bible, now that we realize that it's the truth, the more we understand things we didn't know, but we paid the price for not knowing about them. So with this new friend here, Dub, we talked about what we've paid for having a lot of sexual intercourse with a lot of different partners. But the Bible told us not to. It didn't explain why, but we end up realizing why. But that's I'm gonna leave this for the STD show. We're gonna do another one of those. Everybody, thanks for being around. I hope you enjoyed this. Oh, I'm in another room. Is there an outro here? Here it is. All right, we got the outro. So this was Dan's show without Dan, without Steven. It was me and myself and Robin, me, myself, and Irene, and TKA. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on the next show. God bless. Have a great night.